Hi, this is Lou from Dividend Dog. Welcome. Here we look at stocks with an emphasis on dividends paying stocks. So if that's your kind of thing, consider subscribing and liking. So today we're going to look at a company called Paramount. Paramount is famous as a film studio, and it's the new name given to the formerly named CBS Viacom company. So it owns the CBS network, as well as channels such as Showtime, Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central, Bet, and Pluto, amongst others. So we'll look at the history of this company. All segments of the company are pretty old. Paramount Pictures was established back in 1914. CBS started in 1928. And Viacom, a division of CBS, was incorporated in 1970. 1993, Viacom acquires Paramount Pictures. In the year 2000, Viacom and CBS merge. Now they were called simply Viacom. In 2005, they created two publicly traded companies, Viacom and CBS. 2019, Viacom and CBS reunited in a $12 billion merger. In the year 2022, Viacom CBS changed its name to Paramount Global, and that brings us up to the current day. That's what they call themselves, Paramount Global. So looking at the financials of this, over the past few years, the earnings have been decreasing. Total debt stands at $16.8 billion as of March of 2022 versus the net earnings of $2.2 billion in 2021. And Value Line projects earnings of $1.8 billion for 2022. The dividend of 24 cents per share per quarter, that annualizes to 96 cents per year per share. It's a low payout ratio versus the earnings, but it's increasing as the earnings decrease. It has money coming in from different sources. When we look at this, there's money from advertising is the big one, but there's also affiliate fees. There's streaming, theatrical, licensing. So some of these seem nice and almost passive to me, especially things like the licensing, the affiliate fees. So fees and licensing, it suggests a nice passive kind of income to me. I know it's not purely passive, but passive-like, I'd call it. Ratings-wise, Value Line gives it a B++ for financial strength. Morningstar gives it a narrow moat with a negative outlook with a fair value of $58 per share. Fitch Ratings, I found back in August of 2022, they rate BBB for their senior debt, BB+ for their junior, with a stable outlook. Moody's, back in March of 2022, assigned it a Baa3 rating on their proposed junior notes. S&P, back in March of 2022, gives the company a BBB for their long-term credit rating with a stable outlook. So all of those ratings are, pretty okay to good. As far as the insider trading and insider relations, interesting to note on this company, there are two classes of stock outstanding. There's 40.7 million Class A shares. Those each have one vote per share. That stock ticker is PARAA. And then there are 608.4 million Class B shares, which have no vote. That's ticker symbol PARA. Most of what we talk about is the PARA, just simply because there's many more shares. The trading in PARA is much more liquid. So over the past 2 years here, we see some option exercises and some sales. We see here, there's a couple of things that stand out to me. Shari Redstone, in February of 2022, she bought nearly $3 million worth of Class A PARAA stock, paying $28.61 per share. And National Amusements in May of 2022, remember, National Amusements is headed by Shari Redstone. They bought nearly $21 million worth of Class B, that's the PARA stock, paying $32.37 per share. And if we look at the insider ownership, Paramount's, we look at the Paramount's 2022 proxy statements. This is back in April of 2022. National Amusements owns over 31.5 million Class A shares. So that's 77.4% of the outstanding Class A shares. And they also owns over 31.3 million Class B shares. So that's 5.2% of outstanding shares on that class. Shari Redstone owns 30,167 Class A shares and 452,874 Class B shares. As another major owner is Mario Gabelli with his Gamco Investors at 3.6 million Class A shares. That's 8.8% of the class. So we look at this company, Paramount Global. The pros to this, the biggest pro that I see here is valuation. At this point, the Class B shares trade at $19.22 a share. Value line with their 2022 estimate, even with the EPS being lower at 2.75, $2.75 a share of earnings. Compare that with the $19.22 a share that it's trading for. The PE would be 6.98, so say a 7, but a PE of 7 is really, really cheap to me. CBS broadcast network is still one of the big four networks in the U.S. They have a huge, just enormous reach of basically almost every household in America because it's a broadcast network versus a cable network. So that CBS network is just gigantic. Definitely a pro going for it, trying to sell advertising. Paramount Plus streaming is growing revenue. So it's both ad revenue and subscription revenue. So that's definitely a growth catalyst. That's definitely a pro in this company. But it comes with its list of risks too. So there's some cons. So the biggest one is National Amusements is by far the largest shareholder here. The history here, they have a history of the way they spin things off, and then they consolidate the company. The CBS and Viacom have this shared history where, they're together for these years, and they're apart, then they're together again. So, Paramount seems like it's basically like the puppet. National Amusements is pulling the strings. Shari Redstone and family are, behind that. National Amusements, they're in the theater business. But they're going to do what they want to do because they own, the controlling interest here. So even though they renamed and they rebranded the company Paramount after their famed film studio, the Paramount studio generates only about 9% of revenue for the company. So, don't be fooled into thinking that somehow the studio was the engine here. It's not. I mean, it's a part of it, but. And I would say the other risk here is that, the stock might be cheap for a reason. I think it goes back to it's a controlled company. It's not doing so great. The earnings are going down over the last few years. Uh, and I guess the big question is, when will the earnings sort of bottom out and at least stabilize? I think that's the biggest question on investors' minds. If we knew the answer to that, I guess we'd be all set. But being a controls company, I guess it can be a con. I guess in a weird way, it can be a good thing. The people running the management of Paramount, obviously Shari Redstone, they'll have to answer to her. If she doesn't like what's going on, then their job is going to be at risk, because she has this, her, she's heavily invested in this. Going back to her, her father, Sumner Redstone, who really was instrumental in creating the company. So on one hand, it's a con, but on the other hand, I guess it can be a good thing. It depends, I guess, how your viewpoint is, but it's just something to know. There's this very large shareholder out there, and it's a controlled company. So if you're investing, I guess bringing all this info together, I guess if you're investing or thinking of investing in Paramount, if you're thinking it's a film studio, I guess you really should think again. Of course, it is a film studio, but the film studio only accounts for that 9% of the business. So it's just something to know. They've rebranded based on one of their subsidiaries. In a way, I think CBS Viacom was probably a better name for it. But this stock, disclosure, I don't own any of it. And this is not financial advice. This is just my own 2 cents. Would I buy any of it? I don't know. Maybe I would, just because it seems so darn cheap to me. I'm looking at it. $19.22 per share. It gives you 96 cents per share a year. It works out to a yield of 4.99%. So basically a 5% yield. Tempts me to perhaps buy a few shares of the Class B here and just collect that dividend stream while I sit there and wait to see what develops in stabilizing the earnings. Again, not financial advice, just my honest opinion, but that's the truth about Paramount's global stock. Please leave your comments, thoughts, opinions on this company. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.